The Lord be with you. This is a reading from the Holy Gospel according to Luke. Great crowds were traveling with Jesus, and he turned and addressed them. If anyone comes to me without hating his father and mother, wife and children, brothers and sisters, and even his own life, he cannot be my disciple. Whoever does not carry his own cross and come after me cannot be my disciple. Which of you, wishing to construct a tower, does not first sit down and calculate the cost to see if there is enough for its completion? Otherwise, after laying the foundation and finding himself unable to finish the work, the onlookers should laugh at him and say, "This one began to build but did not have the resources to finish." Or what king marching into battle would not first sit down and decide whether with 10,000 troops he can successfully oppose another king, advancing upon him with 20,000 troops? But if not, while he is still far away, he will send a delegation to ask for peace terms. In the same way, any one of you who does not renounce all his possessions cannot be my disciples. And this is the gospel of the Lord. How about that? Did you catch the first line of the gospel? Great crowds were traveling with Jesus. In today's terminology, Jesus at that time in his ministry would have been considered to be a rock star. Easy to understand. Heal a bunch of people, bring people back from the dead, teach a message that people can bite into, and voila, you have great crowds following you. But wait, not too far down the road, Jesus is dying the agonizing death on the cross. And where did all those great crowds get to? Mary, John, a couple others. That's your great crowd at the crucifixion. Why was that? Why? Our gospel gives us a potential answer. Jesus sensed, I believe, that the crowd following him were fair weather friends, so he turned to them and jolts them into reality. If anyone comes to me without hating his father and mother, wife and children, even his own life, he cannot be my disciple. Can you imagine at this point a number of people in the great crowd sort of giving sideway glances to each other? Some of them peeling away back to their homes. Here's the underlying principle. Love God first. Everything else follows. Remember, Jesus said, you shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, mind, soul, and strength, and then love your neighbor as yourself. In the gospel, Jesus is using, at what was at that time, a traditional rabbinic technique. He was making a stark exaggeration in order to make his point. So, hating father and mother? No. Jesus would never say to actively hate members of your family, but God has to come first. And through the centuries, the saints have understood this, even sometimes breaking up their families. My favorite saint, St. Francis, after his conversion, was so into poverty that his father being a cloth merchant, Francis took his father's wonderful cloth and was giving them to the poor. By the way, Francis's father used to go to France to buy the cloth, and that's how Francis got his name, because his father went to France a lot. Anyways, his father was so mad at him that he took him to the square of the bishop and said, "Make him be sorry for stealing my cloth and giving it to the poor." At which point Francis took off all his clothes, gave them to his father, and said, "And now the only father I have is my Father in heaven," and walked away buck naked. Francis saying he had no father except his Father in heaven was really just in the same way Jesus was, just saying God has to come first. Of course you cherish your wife, your children, your family. That's not the most important thing. Then to top it all off, Jesus said, if there's anybody of this great crowd left, he said, if you want to be my disciple, you have to carry your cross and come after me. Now the people of those days understood that, and there might have been a chill running up and down their spines because they knew how ugly and disgusting the cross was. Not so much for us anymore. And this is the one that kills me. Have you ever heard, and God forbid you've ever said to someone who is wearing a cross, "Oh, what a beautiful cross." Ugh. It's not a beautiful cross. It's an ugly cross. It's a disgusting cross. And we wear it as a sign of respect for the one who gave his life that we would live. You see, this is what Jesus is saying. His true disciples are the ones who are even willing in the midst of hardship and difficult times, follow him. Hard and challenging stuff, no doubt. I get that. So the question of the gospel for us today is this: are we in the crowd, the great crowd, wandering away from Jesus? Or are we at the cross with the Blessed Mother and John and a couple others? For those of you who put God first, you know where you are.